The mercenary salutes you, Knight. So, how does it feel?
The knight is overjoyed to have new brothers in arms.
I'm going.
Leave me, Vulcan. I don't want to talk right now.
I'm sorry about your dad. She took me by surprise. I didn't have time to protect him.
Even though I wish you could have saved him, it's not your fault. It's that witch.
Yeah, but it's understandable that she'd be mad at your father.
Whatever he did to her, he didn't deserve to die like that. She's a murderer, a monster.
A monster that maybe just saved your life.
Perhaps. But why did my father have her imprisoned? Did he know she would try to kill him?
He had us to protect him, and if he hadn't shown up in the middle of the swamp, he'd still be alive. It just doesn't make sense. We have to find out what he was doing. He must have been up to something, because he didn't talk to anyone about it. Not even the people who were supposed to take care of him.
What are you accusing him of?
Nothing really. I'm just asking questions. But I'm going to need your help to find the answers.
I will help you. I need to know what happened as much as you.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
What do you want to know?
So then, any result from the study of all these creatures of the swamps?
I observed that the Rippers always hide inside objects, like a tree trunk, for example. They're quite slow and only attack from a very close distance. On the other hand, they can grab their prey and drag them towards themselves. Have you discovered any new creatures?
We did fight with the creature that we called the Swamp Beast.
As you may remember, I was there and saw it with my own eyes.
Well, you got to see me fight it.
I prefer not to think about that day.
There are whip vines. I mean, I'm not very good at naming things and creatures, but that's how I describe what they do. When you go close to them, they whip out to strike you. So then, any result from the study of all these creatures of the swamps?
Have you discovered any new creatures?
I destroyed some of the fungi, or parasite. They're like a round ball that doesn't move, but if you go too close to them, they release a poisonous cloud. It's better to attack them from a distance. See you later.
Greetings, mercenary. What can I do for you?
I have some questions I'd like to ask you. Did you know about Edwin?
Are you asking if I helped ALS? No, not voluntarily at any rate. Our late Grand Master asked me to carry out a medical examination of the woman while she was still our guest. Of course, he wanted me to be discreet, so I couldn't really examine her.
What did you learn?
Apart from the fact that your friend looks like a woman, human and in perfect health, nothing.
So everything's normal?
Apparently, but as I said, I wasn't allowed to examine her. Everything looks normal, which isn't exactly the same thing. To get back to your initial question, the only part I played in the story was to give our Grand Master a powerful soporific. He must have used it to capture her, but believe me, I had absolutely no idea who the victim was going to be.
Can I have a look at your stock?
Vulcan, you must help me. The prince is dying.
Well, I'm happy to see that my talents as a doctor are finally being recognized.
There's no doubt an explosion would cure him of all his ills forever. But I was actually thinking about your connections with the Red Scribes. If you could speak to them, it would save me having the prince's death on my conscience.
I wouldn't exactly call myself a friend of theirs. But yeah, I can always give it a try. So is the prince doing any better?
He is still in a coma. He doesn't seem much better, no.
I'm going to talk with the Red Scribes, Doctor. He might know of a cure.
Thank you.
Let's change the subject. I have a few questions I need to ask you. Do you know these swamps?
I've been in this area long enough to have explored a fair amount of it, actually. The region is rather inhospitable, which I suppose is a good thing under the present circumstances.
A good thing? You're out of your mind.
These swamps are a labyrinth. The Deadwalker scouts will never be autonomous enough to find their way to the village by themselves.
That means we should be fairly safe for the moment. At least until a general or an ice lord comes to town.
Except that recently, there has been a change in these swamplands. And I must admit that I no longer feel safe at all.
What do you mean?
Something is affecting the swamplands, corrupting the vegetation and the animals. And I have no idea what it is. But anything that grows or lives here could become a threat. So I strongly recommend that you watch where you put your feet.
Who is the elf in the healing house? Is he really your prince?
He is Prince Arundel, the son of our king and heir to the Elven crown. Therefore, yes, he is our king.
How the hell did he end up here?
Prince Arundel led a detachment of the Elven army sent to harass the Deadwalkers. And when he reached Bastion, he fell into an ambush. I got wind of this trap, but by the time I arrived, it was too late. When I caught up to the prince, he was already wounded, and most of his soldiers were dead. Those who survived covered our retreat.
To here?
Yes. The route to Carolthas was too dangerous. I knew about this village and felt that it would be secure for at least a little while. As soon as he gets better, we shall leave for Carolthas. The remainder of the human and elven armies are gathering there. That is where the final stage of the war will be played out.
You seem different from the other elves I've met. Where are you from?
Really? I seem different. And yet I have such pointy ears. And if you really want to know, I actually come from one of the most ancient and noble houses that exists. I'm even linked to the royal family. But I can assure you that I'm sufficiently far down the line of succession to be in no danger of being crowned. And my reputation is no help either.
As far as bad reputations go, every mercenary has got one, so we're used to it.
Let's just say that I got into enough trouble to eventually be considered a traitor to my people. When I got involved in the war, I disagreed with decisions made by the king. He thought that this war, like so many others, would not last. That the conquests won by the Ice Lords would melt away like all the human victories before them had. But I thought differently. Right from the start of hostilities, I began to requisition certain resources I felt necessary for those doing the fighting. More food, more weapons, better armor. When my people discovered what I'd done, I was declared an outlaw, and many saw me as a thief, which, in a manner of speaking, I guess I was.
A bunch of cowards. If they had listened to you, we wouldn't be in this mess.
I've been telling myself that for years, but I do understand their point of view. It is flawed, but not entirely thoughtless. They have had some time to prepare their forces and to learn the strengths and weaknesses of the Deadwalker army. This knowledge might allow us to turn the tide of the war, even if it does seem too little too late at this point.
Elves are pretty rare. I haven't had the chance to talk to many. Can you tell me more about your people?
We are born in the trees, eat only seeds, and we spend all the livelong days singing.
I get the feeling you're fucking with me.
Perish the thought. Well, it's just that we aren't that different from you humans, despite what one hears. Our civilization is obviously a bit older, so we have had the time to learn from our mistakes. We don't really live in the same rhythm as you do. We move a little slower, and most of us are prone to having at least some respect for the past. This is the reason why we never destroy anything, that we prefer to build on top of things.
Don't elves ever make war?
That's an impression we like to give other people. The fact is, we do go to war, just never against each other. You must understand that, given our long lifetimes, battles are fairly futile. This may well be what has motivated the choices of our king concerning the Ice Lords. But we certainly know how to fight, and you'll see proof of that soon enough.
So it's the prince who gives the orders?
The word orders may not be the best one. We do not submit nor obey easily. Our kings are a reference, wise men who can point out the way. They tend to guide us rather than give us orders. But to answer your question, it is his father, the king, who is the leader of our people.
I've heard that you are immortal.
That joke has lived for 15 generations. I will never get tired of it. No, we're not immortal. We live long lives, though. Much longer than you. We are resistant to poisons, rotten food, and toxic body odor, apparently. Unfortunately, these things do not make us immortal.
Let's change the subject. I'll leave you here. Do you have any idea how to wake the elf prince up?
Unfortunately, I don't. I think I've tried just about every remedy I know, but nothing works.
You said just about. I'm guessing that's not by chance?
It's true. There's one formula I haven't tried yet. An extremely powerful solution that requires a certain ingredient to make. An ingredient I don't have.
What is it?
A very virulent poison secreted by the chrysalid queen. But be careful you don't mix them up with the ones you usually see. I wanted to go looking for them myself, but the villagers stopped me. They say they're really dangerous. It seems they can be found along the road we took to get here. And apparently, they only come out at night.
I'll get you some. I'll be going now. Are you Alas's assistant?
I am. I mean, I was actually his deputy, to be more specific.
You and me need to have a chat, and I hope for your sake that I'm going to like it. What the hell was your wonderful master up to in the swamp? Who is this Edwin that he locked up there?
I don't know what you're talking about. He never said anything to me about the swamp, or locking someone up. Such things are not in the habits of our order.
So why was the woman locked up?
I suppose that there's some connection with the agreement that she made with my master. Even if I don't understand why things turned out that way. The way I understand the agreement, it stipulated that she could have access to all of our archives on condition that she help us with a ritual.
The one in the temple?
Yes, she helped to create the catalyst that you saw. Our intentions were noble. The ritual was to help us create a link with the World Heart, to break the ones the Ice Lords have made.
It didn't work as planned.
Indeed. I suppose that had something to do with her. She must have sabotaged the catalyst, so the ritual would fail. Now I realize that we should never have trusted the woman. Our master obviously understood that and was suspicious. That must have been why he locked her up, even though it's not at all like him.
Why was he trying to guard this secret to the point of threatening to kill his own daughter?
I don't understand it myself. He was a wise and good man who adored his daughter, even if sometimes he was overly demanding of her. That's what I thought, at least.
You must know who this woman is.
Yes, of course. She's a witch, more powerful in the arcane arts than any scribe will ever be. Several months ago, we caught her trying to steal some ancient documents in one of the Order's libraries.
What kind of documents?
Very theoretical ones related to magic. To be honest, it's not one of my specialties, but they tell of the World Heart and the origin of the Ice Lords. The fact is that our master believed that she could be of more use to us doing research than in a prison. He made an agreement with her, and from then on, she's been our guest.
What's gonna happen now? What's gonna become of your order and our contract?
Our order will carry on as before, even after the deaths of our previous masters. As Aeolas is no more, now it is my turn to lead. As for your contract, it still holds. The sad fate that has befallen us, and you, does not change the terms.
And the Freeborn Blades always honor their contracts. Very well. Let's change the subject.
Vulcan, what can I do for you?
Can I do something for you?
Yes, you came by at just the right time. Our healer, Sylvan, needs help. Can you go help him?
Have you noticed how some of the villagers are behaving in a weird way?
I haven't seen it myself, but I've been told about it. I can't tell you why they're behaving like that, but it may be that it's connected with the feeling we all have. The feeling is that a corrupt and unhealthy source of magic is nearby, and that it is growing hour by hour, to our peril.
Uh-huh. You really know how to cheer someone up. I'll be going now.